Hello everyone, welcome back to Lucky Loads 15, where I'll be giving you my predictions for day 2 of Royal Ascot tomorrow. After a great day we had today, we got 4 place and a winner in our each way Lucky 63, which means instead of a normal Lucky 15 you pick 6 races, and we did it each way because Royal Ascot is very wide open, some big fields, and it's definitely worth doing each way, and has definitely rewarded us today. Absolutely cracking day, probably one of the best days we've had on the channel here. And our first race was with Mukatayev behind Ribchester. Gave him not a bad rival run there. Ribchester, to be fair to him, ran very well, but Mukatayev for one moment looked like he could level on terms. He was the only one in the field that was kind of in the same league as Ribchester, and the fact that they were running away from the rest of the field. The others were a little bit behind, but it was a nice performance by Mukatayev, and he got us rolling at 7-1 in a place there at second there. Our second selection was Headway, which nearly won, which would have come in at the better SP for us at 33-1. Really gutted that one didn't win, but it was still a good selection anyway. And if you backed Headway today each way, you still probably would have ended up with a nice little profit from that bet. We also had Marsha as well. That horse came third behind a great performance from Lady Aurelia. There was a lot of negative comments about that horse, that it hadn't been seen for quite a while and could it turn out fresh. Well, it put all those question marks to bed and was a really good performance. Had a bit more competition, a lot of people were arguing this time, but none of the others were in the same league as that today. Marsha did well to finish third, not quite like its Newmarket run last time out. So all in all, still kept us going. Then it was the turn in the 420 in the big race of the day between Churchill and Barney Roy. Churchill didn't really feature in the race today. He kind of got hampered a little bit, but he came, I think it was back in about 5th place in the end. And our selection, Barney Roy, finished home really nicely. He had a bit of turn of foot. If I had to look back at the run, I'd say I don't think Churchill possibly was suited by the ground. I think Churchill is a very good horse, and you can definitely see with the form that he brought into the race with all his major wins, but I just don't think he had quite of a turn of pace as some of the other horses. I think his gear, he had a really a good top gear of going fast, but I don't think he could give any more, where I think maybe a horse like Barney Roy could go through the gears a little bit more and had a bit more in their locker when it comes to speed. So that was a really good selection there today. 5-2 winner there. Then we had Rainbow Dreamer in the long horse race there over 2 miles and 4 furlongs. That was not a bad performance by Rainbow Dreamer. He won a nice race at Newbury beforehand, and he came 4th today, and they were paying 4 places each way minimum with all bookmakers on that race because of the handicap situation, 16 runners or more. So that was good performance there coming in. And then we had our last race going into it. We all had some money coming back off all our races today, and it was marching in together, and hopefully we thought it was going to do marching together with some money and complete the whole bet and get 6 out of 6 right selections, but it wasn't to be. Horse absolutely blew it at the start, if I'm honest. It was the back marker throughout, but it ran on really nicely in the end. I think it finished 11th out of 24th, and you say 11th out of 24th, but it's over 5 furlongs, so many horses competing, but the way that it finished towards the end of the race in the last couple of furlongs, it was absolutely ripping through the field, and maybe on another day, if it got a better start, it could have been with more of the business end horses maybe competing more for a place. So that was an outsider in the end. I think it went off at 50-1. I backed it at 25, so all in all the market didn't support it, but I think if that horse got a good start, it might have done okay. But that's definitely probably one to keep in the memory bank for future races. So all in all, it was a really good day at Royal Ascot. I hope you maybe picked 1 or 2 of our selections. Let us know if you did and if they did any good for you in the comments box below. But we're going to be getting stuck into day 2 of Royal Ascot tomorrow in an each way Lucky 63 again. Over 6 races, which is the maximum lucky bet I believe you can do. So we'll be doing an each way Lucky 63, and we're going to start off tomorrow in the 2:30 in the Jersey Stakes with a horse called Daban, which we backed on this channel to win the Nell Gwyn Stakes that day at Newmarket. That was a very good performance there. It subsequently ran in 1,000 guineas and was slightly disappointing there that that horse only came 3rd, but it was still a very relatively good performance in that race to finish 3rd. and he won't have Frankie aboard tomorrow. This horse is a John Gosden horse, and he had a good relationship going on with Frankie Dettori, but as you all might be aware of, Frankie is injured after an arm injury that's kept him out the last few days, and he's going to be missing the whole of Royal Ascot, so we wish you well soon, Frankie, and hope you'll be racing again soon. But it's Andrea Azzani taking the ride, not a negative bookie jock in any means. Andrea is a very good, competent rider, and aboard Daban tomorrow. Currently 7-1 bookmakers at the moment. Definitely think this horse, with what's shown so far, I like the ground, I like the trip. Ascot might offer him something a little bit different, and I definitely think he could be at 7-1 tomorrow, a good each way price at least. If not, he could still feature and be in the frame to win the race. So that's who our selection is going to be there, Daban. Our second selection tomorrow sees us go to the Queen Mary Stakes in the 305. Quite a tough race on paper. I think it's the American Wesley Ward is got the favourite in this race. He's won it the last couple of times, and he's got a very short price tomorrow. I think it's called On Her Toes or something like that. Ryan Moore takes the ride for that one. Currently a very short price favourite, around about 5-4. But I definitely think you can't, even though he's a very good trainer, this American, you can't necessarily take him at face value, and maybe you've got to find an alternative out there. And I think I have, with our selection in this race tomorrow, Mrs. Gallagher for William Jarvis and Sylvester de Souza on board, who's been, as we all know, in cracking form. I think it's 25 winners in the last fortnight or something absolutely crazy like that. Really going for the jockey's title this year on the flat. This horse is a course and distance winner. It won on its only ride here at Ascot, and its only ride ever on a race course in a maiden. Subsequent winners have come out of that. This horse has definitely got the scope for improvement and can hopefully come on further from its first run. And currently 12-1 with bookmakers at the moment. I thought that was quite an encouraging price. So with the form there and the subsequent winners, I definitely thought this was an interesting horse to hopefully make another good performance tomorrow at 12-1. Our third selection tomorrow sees us go to the Duke of Edinburgh Stakes. And this is a horse that we've backed here a couple of times on the channel, and it's always got a 100% record for when we've backed it. It's Laugh Aloud, currently the market favourite, but rightly so, 3-1 bookmakers at the moment. It's won previously at Epsom and Goodwood when we've backed it, and in both those races I believe it was carrying a penalty, so you could say it had a slight disadvantage there before the race, but it managed to put that to bed and win well. This is probably not quite a wide open race as maybe some of you think it is. I definitely think Laugh Aloud is the one to beat. He's got James Doyle aboard tomorrow. This horse is also owned by John Gosden as well, who trains this horse, so that's another good positive connection there. James Doyle had a great ride on Barney Roy today, beating Churchill, and he's in good form. Good trusty jockey who rides all around the world and gets very good rides, so I think Laugh Aloud definitely has a good chance of winning that race tomorrow, and hopefully will be one of our bankers in that lucky each way 63. Our fourth selection tomorrow sees us go to the Prince of Wales in the 420. Horse we're going for here is a horse called Decorated Knight, who is from Roger Charlton's yard and will be ridden by Andrea Azzani, who we've already backed one of his rides for tomorrow. This horse won very well at Ireland last time at Curragh in a Group 1 listed race. Very nice performance there, ran very well, good turn of speed towards the last furlong and won by a couple of lengths. And if it can put another good performance like that tomorrow, I definitely think this horse should be in the mix again. Currently not a bad price, 8-1 with bookmakers at the moment. I definitely think that could be the gamble of the day in that particular race. So take that price now, I believe, if you fancy that horse there like I do. The ground and trip are absolutely fine. He runs well over good firm, so hopefully again Decorated Knight will be in the mix tomorrow in that race. Our next selection in the 5 o'clock at Ascot sees us go to the Royal Hunt Cup, where again this is an absolutely massive race. I think there's 30 plus horses running in this race, so there'll be plenty of each way chances here. And again, there's a few experienced horses, a few unexperienced horses, so a very, very hard race, if I'm honest, to pin one down. But I found what I thought was a very good horse called Tabarrak, which is Richard Hannon and Jim Crowley teaming up for this one. 25-1 shot at the moment, and you're thinking, why am I going for this horse? Well, it's a twice course and distance winner at Ascot over the good to firm ground, which it is currently. It's run 2 races at Ascot and had 2 wins. loves the track, got a good pedigree as well, and that pedigree seems to show to win at this track. Richard Hannon, good trainer. Jim Crowley, good jockey. More positive than negative, I feel, this horse at such a big price, and I definitely think with it being in reasonably good form as well, this horse Tabarrak, who is part of the Godolphin organisation owned by the same Sheikh El Hamid Al Maktoum, should definitely be in the mix tomorrow, and at 25 to 1 I definitely think that is a good price in our each way lucky 63. Our last selection tomorrow sees us go to the Sandringham Handicap, which is again a little bit of a tough race on paper to work out, like all these races are, if I'm honest. It was probably luck that we got 5 today, but we did look at them and find some good horses, and hopefully this horse will be good for us tomorrow. Queen of Time. It is coming off of 2 back-to-back wins at Goodwood. Last one was a very impressive win, if I'm honest. Henry Candy trained and will be ridden by Harry Bentley, who's a good and up-and-coming jockey. That's not a negative there. This horse has been whacked up slightly for that impressive win at Goodwood, but he's been running good form since he's been back this season, and he'll be going for a hat-trick tomorrow. I definitely think if he doesn't win, he'll be there or thereabouts in the race, and at a good price at 12 to 1 at the moment, I definitely think he'll run a good race, and he's meeting a few other rivals as well, so all in all, that looks pretty strong for him. Anyway, how did you do on Royal Ascot today? Let us know in the comments box below. Also follow us on Twitter at LuckyLoaders15. You can also follow us on Facebook at LuckyLoaders15. Also, let us know your tips for tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see in what you're backing tomorrow. Gamble responsibly, and we'll be seeing you soon.